Welcome to Never Shut Up. It's your boy Marcellus Wiley, filming from the Brinks headquarters in Atlanta, Georgia. Yes, I'm in the dirty South, and it feels good to be down here. It felt better to be in Vegas this weekend, and yes, I was out there in Vegas. Told you guys I was contemplating crashing my wife's girls' trip, and of course I did. Two days of fun in Vegas. Felt like a teenager because I was just being reckless, but felt like a young adult because I had $5 in my pocket, still being reckless. It was great, man. Let me tell you what I did. Some of the highlights, not only crashing the girls' trip, but then I saw a bachelor party of dudes in this private room at Delilah's. You know me, I ain't scared of nothing. Walked right up in there. Had to be the extra groomsmen, I guess, for that party they had. That was a fun time. A lot of friends in there, a lot of fans, new homies, I guess I could say. From there, I went to my boy Sebastian Maniscalco's comedy show. He's performing at the Win. Yeah, he big time. This dude is winning. I'm telling y'all. It's a funny story. I'll tell y'all later how we met and connected, but he's major. He killed that show. And then, of course, the highlight of the weekend wasn't hanging with my wife. It was hanging with John Bones Jones at the UFC 285. I was in the building. I saw Tom Brady there, bunch of stars out there. And what a moment. Like, Jones is my favorite UFC fighter all time. He's number one. And I've never been to UFC before. I always was scared to run into that guy, you know, who had them messed up mushroom ears or whatever, them cauliflowers. And I was like, I don't want to see that guy. And then I've never been. It's just for whatever reason, I've never been. And it added up. That morning I woke up, I'm like, I'm in Vegas. Bones is fighting. Why don't you just get some tickets? Went there with one of my former teammates, George Reister from Jacksonville Jaguars. And we had a ball. Let me tell you. So we warming up to it, right? And the co-main event is going on. And it was Alexa Grasso versus Alexa Shevchenko or something. All right, I don't know who they are. I ain't gonna act like that. But I was the only one in our section, which felt like the only one in the entire arena who was saying Grasso's gonna win. And they were like, what are you talking about? What are you doing? Ain't no way she gonna win. Shevchenko can't lose. I was like, she's trying to go to her plan A, and it's not working, and she's starting to look uncomfortable. You guys watch that fight over again. It got to the point where everyone was turning on me like, fool, she's going to lose. And one dude went too far. In the moment, he bet me $50,000. He said, I put $50,000 on it right now. Shevchenko wins. And then I was about to reach my arm out, and I realized I got 4 kids, and one of them in grad school. I said, I can't take that bet. Do you know 30 seconds later, well, here we go, Shevchenko with one of them kicks again that wasn't working the whole night. And then Grasso bum rushed her from the back, got her in a submission. It was a wrap. And everybody's like, what? And shocked. And I'm the only one sitting there not as happy as I should be because $50,000 could have been right here in my pocket, baby. But all love, man. It was a great time. And let's get to the topic for the first block. Bones Jones, is he the GOAT? Now, I know there's going to be a lot of pushback on this because, hey, you know, that's a steroid user, man. The guy's been caught performance-enhancing drugs. Or, hey, look at all the issues he's had outside the octagon. Okay, let's unpack this properly. One, Bones Jones, they say, by the new testing mandates and thresholds, that all those previous tests where he was positive would now be negative. Y'all still pushing back? Ooh, didn't know that, huh? Did my research. And then we can't do anything about those well-documented issues of character issues with John Bones Jones. I get it. But is that ever kept anybody else from being called the GOAT or at least a Hall of Famer and considered on the Mount Rushmore? Y'all know the names. I don't even want to put somebody through the ringer right now. But of course, it's not a disqualifier. Maybe it's not the most likable trait about them or attribute, but it's not a disqualifier. What did we see in that fight? Before he even got into the octagon, he put on 43 pounds. Not pure muscle, too. I'm not going to say that because, when I was 248, I looked even more chiseled than him. But I wasn't doing what he does, and I'm not nearly as skilled as him. But I've seen 248 look a lot better than that. But he still put on 43 pounds of muscle after a 3-year layoff and went in there with the full intention to become heavyweight champion of the world. And not only did he accomplish that goal, how did he accomplish it? Are we serious right now? A man who has not stepped into an octagon for 3 years at a different weight class and made it look easier than anything he's ever done. I mean, in the moment, I was hydrated, can't lie, and I just had to say it because, hydration ain't nothing but truth serum, right? You're going to tell the truth when you're lit. And I was just like, the dude is the GOAT. And if y'all don't believe me, rewatch that fight. It won't be long, and you'll realize who's going to beat him. I can hear y'all right now. Francis Ngannou, that's the one. Well, one, he's not even in the UFC right now. But I can see Dana White right now, the promoter he is, rubbing those palms together like, I got to make this happen. Talking about a mega fight, that will be next level. So I'm looking at this as like we know inevitably it's going to end up being those two guys. Obviously, stops along the way for Bones Jones to get there. Maybe a Miocic, right? Other than that, we're going to see a super mega heavyweight fight. Maybe by the end of this year. Certainly, I think by next year. But Bones Jones, for me, despite all his indiscretions and issues, and I got a chance to interview him so many times that it felt like we had a relationship. We were cool. And 5-10 years ago, he was talking about being heavyweight champion of the world. Years ago, he was talking about he wanted to be a pure boxer. And it's just crazy to me that this guy, with all of that skill level, even when he derails himself and self-sabotages himself, still finds himself on the same journey he intentionally desired from hello, which is be the baddest man on the planet. Y'all can throw out the names at me, but in terms of UFC, hate to say it, man, actually love to say it, Bones Jones is that dude. And that's one bet I would put $50,000 on. Well, coming up on Never Shut Up, guess what we got? We got beef. Well, a little bit, maybe some pork. Your ex versus your next. KD sits in the middle, and he looks at Kyrie beefing with Devin Booker. Oh, that gotta feel good to the ego. Let's discuss it next on Never Shut Up on Brinks TV and Reed's TV. Where's my... There we go. Here it is. I found it. Welcome back to Never Shut Up. It's your boy Marcellus Wiley in the Brinks headquarters of Atlanta, Georgia. Dirty South, the birds are out right here. And you know who else is out? Woo! Kevin Durant watching his ex have an issue with his next in terms of the rivalry that may be brewing between the Brooklyn Nets, former star, and now on the Phoenix Suns versus the Dallas Mavericks. We'll get into all that, but first, it was just funny to watch the video of what is going on. Kyrie Irving walking around and Devin Booker sitting there saying, hey, KD's with me now, big dog. I don't understand what you're talking about. And they both have moved on because now you see Kyrie as the Dallas Maverick and they have some words and people can find out what you say in the NBA because of that big boom mic. Here's the quote right here. Oh, man, next time, don't wait until there's 3 seconds left to talk. That was Luka trying to jump in there as well. And then one of the comments was, KD watching his ex and current arguing with one another. Fellas, we all been there. It was just hilarious to see this, right? So in this moment, you're like, what's really going on here? Like, why y'all really gonna let y'all emotions pour over to the point where y'all gonna be that obvious that y'all ain't really got no beef with each other, Kyrie and Devin Booker? But this is really about, Kevin Durant. And Kevin Durant just sitting there, all 6'11" and 3/4 of him. He said he ain't 7 feet. And he's just looking down at these dudes like, what y'all over here talking about? What's the issue right here? So let's just unpack it. One, there is no rivalry between these two teams yet because these two teams have yet to fight for what matters most. Now, obviously, there are going to be storylines and we're going to be all into this. But when we talk about actual rivalry, let's stop throwing that around so loosely just because, oh, my God, these two guys don't like each other. And they don't like each other because of another guy, not because of each other, right? So I don't want to say it's a rivalry just yet. Let these playoffs decide if this really is going to be a rivalry. But more than that, it took me back to like my playing days when these storylines did actually give more context, more fodder, more fuel for you to go out there and play the 110% in terms of intensity, right? And I had one moment in particular when I got a chance to play against my former team. And it was when I went to the San Diego Chargers and we got to play the Buffalo Bills, where I had been for 4 years. So it's the same parallels in terms of, you know, all those people, familiar faces. That's your boy. But now it's time to butt heads, homeboy. And before that game even started, I couldn't believe that we were really going at it and beefing. I'm walking through the stretch line, doing my thing. And, you know, you just start hearing a little chatter. And this ain't the typical fan chatter. This is not the typical stuff you hear from the stands. It's the other team. Oh, Wiley, you overrated. Oh, Wiley, you overpaid. Oh, you a bum. Now, they were saying it in jest, but since they were still saying it, oh, I had to take it somewhere else. So I'm like, y'all talking about me? And as much as I wanted to get out of my skin and get out of pocket with them, I kept my composure. You know me, I laugh at my pain, so I was just giggling with them like, whatever. Y'all saying it about me must mean y'all must actually be still checking for your boy, because I ain't thinking about y'all. But my teammates wasn't feeling the same as me. They weren't peacemakers like I am. They wanted some noise. They wanted some smoke. Next thing you know, they at the 50-yard line talking trash to the other team. Next thing you know, we at it like this. And I don't know if somebody threw hands or not. I know I didn't. But they were really tussling, really going at it. Break that up. Okay. Oh, we see y'all in a few minutes. We know what time kickoff is. Come back out for kickoff. Do you know we're on defense? Your boy. And let me tell you my first 3 plays against my former teammates, the Buffalo Bills. First play from scrimmage. I go around the corner. They try to pass the ball. Sack. Are you serious? I'm like, I'm so hyped. I'm bucking the boat. Y'all remember I used to do my dance? I'm so geeked up. I'm like, I got a sack on my first play. Second play, they try to run the ball. Tackle for loss. Now I'm really losing. I'm like, oh my God. 2 for 2. I'm over here making impact, crowd going crazy. Teammates losing their mind because they know how much it means to me, even though I ain't the one throwing them hands. But I'm out there making them plays. Third down, I'm like, all right, now they're going to do something where obviously I ain't going to make a play. I ain't going to get that crazy. I ain't about to shut them down this entire possession, or am I? Third down, they go back to pass. This is the third play of the game, y'all. And guess who gets another sack? It's your boy. And I'm like, now I'm losing it. I'm geeked up. I think Rodney Harrison, all these dudes is jumping on me, pounding. I'm bucking on the ground. We losing our mind. Everybody like, damn. And I'm bringing up this story because not only the parallels, but of the emotional content and emotional context of every single game we play in. So to get out the mundane, to get out the rigmarole, you put yourself in different places. And sometimes just the sheer fact of seeing someone else on the other team, just the mere fact that you know, like, oh, that dude got a problem with me, puts you in that special place. So after that, you were like, dog, Wiley, would you end up with 5 or 6 sacks? No. I ended up exactly what I had in those first 3 plays. I didn't do shit else the rest of that game. I was so emotionally spent. I was so pumped up, and they adjusted. They were like, dog, we ain't letting Wiley beat us by himself. So ended up with a couple sacks, a tackle for loss, but a story to tell for the rest of my life, that when you know that you geeked up into something, as long as you channel it properly, oh, it could pay dividends. And you look at this situation, you got Devin Booker with Kevin Durant, and they are feeling like, yo, we can't be stopped. You add in a Chris Paul and DeAndre Ayton, let's go to war. And on that way, on that path, on that journey to get to that goal, you're going to see familiar faces. Like KD saw Kyrie. And isn't it funny that KD and Kyrie didn't get into it, but Kyrie got into it with Devin Booker, because that's the Robin to KD as Batman. And it's just funny, my teammates were the same way. The Buffalo Bills had an issue with me. I didn't have an issue with them, but I understood that, hey, we could beef on this. But guess who really got it going on? Those around me, right? The ones who weren't dead center in it. but around me. It's funny, in real life, I've seen that happen a lot of times too. You know, the entourage. The entourage is the one that a lot of times instigates the stuff, gets it going, because they stepping up for you. They stepping up to protect you. They looking out for you. And a lot of times you're like, dog, I got this. I don't need you looking out for me. In my case, trust me, I'm fine. I'm going to go get these 2 sacks, this tackle for loss, and we're going to win this game. In the case of Devin Booker versus Kyrie Irving, oh, they're going to beef for Kevin Durant because they know that dude is special, and they better go out there and show him how special he is. Funny how sports works, right? It's not just how tall you are, how strong you are, you know, how talented you are. Sometimes it's just what is motivating you in that moment to take your talents to that next level. Well, coming up on Never Shut Up, oh, it's somebody who is super talented, but went to his bag of tricks to get the numbers that maybe he didn't deserve in this moment. We're going to talk about Giannis's triple-double. That's next on Never Shut Up on Brinks TV and Reach TV. Bye-bye. Welcome back to Never Shut Up. It's your boy, Marcellus, Wiley in the Brinks headquarters in Atlanta, Georgia. ATLians out here. Oh, man, let's talk about my boy, Giannis. Can't say his last name. I need Acho for that. I need somebody, a fellow Nigerian. I mess his name up every time, and I don't even care. I was on major networks doing shows, and his name would come up, and obviously I'd be like, look, I am not about to stick to protocol. His name is Giannis. They was like, say his last name. I was like, no, you call him, and he'll say his last name for me. So Giannis throws himself a rebound at the end of a game because he was 1 rebound short of a triple-double, right? So you can see the video, time is wasting, time is going out. The other team is like, all right, whatever, game's over. And Giannis just gets right under the basket, and just like my 7-year-old son tries a layup, but it doesn't hit above the rim. It just back, right? Just back. And then he just catches the ball again, and then he kind of walks away with a little smirk, like, y'all know what I just did, right? And obviously, Giannis is taller than the rim, so him shooting the layup is actually just throwing the ball down instead of shooting the ball up, right? But he missed it on purpose just for the stat pad, right? I wanted to pad my stats to get it. Now, people are asking other athletes, myself included, in the comments, have you ever padded your stats? Of course. But I'm going to start at the top. Like the number 1 stat pad that I've seen was Michael Strahan after already having 21 and a half sacks. Remember that sack against Brett Favre, the one that set the record? And whatever, he already got 21 and a half. Brett Favre saw him come and say, it'd be nice if I laid on the ground and let Strahan go and get this record. And he did. I have no problem with it. I have no problem with what I saw with Giannis last night because it was still within regulation. Hey, if the other team doesn't want to defend you and you got the ball and you're like, let me go ahead and add this little extra number to my resume, why not? And let me tell you why you do that. Because you can't trust public's memory and you can't trust your boss's memory. And let me give you why. Because when the season ends, or let's just say your contract is up, 2 things happen. You're sitting there with your agent and you're in the office, you guys are on the phone and you're talking through your contract, and immediately you get summed up by the accolades and by the numbers. People start forgetting all the fine details, and all they remember is these big aggregate numbers. How many All-Pros? How many All-NBAs? How many points? How many wins, right? So you know they're going to sum you up based on the numbers. So when you're in that moment, why not get the numbers? Even if they're not meaningful numbers. That's one reason why guys will always go out there and try to pad their stats. Another reason is because us in the public, fans included, we forget all the details and just have these big old grand glossy barbershop arguments. Oh man, he averaged 28 points. Oh, he better than him because he only averaged 27 points. Not remembering exactly all the details to how he got those points. I think Giannis understands that. He's like, look, it's just 1 rebound, but it doesn't sound like 1 rebound, does it? sounds like a triple-double. That has a completely different meaning and impact than just one rebound. Another smart play for him. Now, let me tell you the times I did it in terms of padding stats. Imagine the quarterback sitting there under center, 38, Sam Hunt, and he goes back to pass the ball, drops back, and then he falls down. And this has happened at least 3-4 times in my career. He falls down. Do you know the bum rush there is on that defensive line to be the first one to tag him? Like when a quarterback falls down on the ground, all you have to do is even with your pinky finger, touch his jersey, touch his cloth like that, and it's a sack. And when that we used to happen, guys be like, I mean, we forget we are teammates. We forget we're friends. Everybody's like, I got to get that. Now, did we earn that sack? Hell nah. But we sitting there trying to get it to pad our stats. And then I've seen this one as well. In the moment, you see a running back, he's really down, but he hasn't hit the ground yet. But we stopped his forward progress, right? And everybody's there. You know what you would do in those moments? You would dive on him and dive on the pile so that when the play is over, the announcer says, Wiley on the tackle, because that's all he saw. Like the dude's not moving, there's like 4 dudes around him. Then he sees Jimmy, Superfly Snooker, just in the air, boom. And that's happened to me like, at least it felt like 10 times. Wiley on the tackle, and you sitting there like, fooled everybody, because they're the ones that stopped them. I'm just the one that you noticed and got the attention, therefore got the tackle. But here's the one that you guys probably don't understand and don't know. When we get into film session, we're all watching the game on mute. We don't hear anything, right? It's the all 22, we call it, right? You get to see offense and defense, both angles, end zone and sideline. We're watching it. And there's been times when you thought you made the sack, you made the tackle, you made that play, you got attention. Wiley on the sack. And then coach is sitting there like, I don't know about this. He hit the rewind again. Then he get that red laser out and he starts pointing. And then your teammate, he finally gets the gumption. He finally gets the courage to say, hey, coach, I got half of that too. And coach is like, yeah, it does look like you got half of that, Williams. Wiley, I think we're going to have to contest this. And no lie, I have lost maybe 2 or 3 sacks because they got contested from film study. They get contested from the NFL, and then they come back with the official review. So you will leave a game on a Sunday like, man, I got that, man. I had 2 sacks, killed them. And then you get into practice Wednesday, you had 1 sack. Still killed them, but it ain't the same. So I know how Giannis is, man. The dude is next level, maybe the face of the NBA after LeBron is gone. But right now in this moment, he knows every single thing counts. Every single stat counts. Because if you want to do it big, you got to do all the little things. Now, all the little things includes little stats that we just move on past, like whatever, a rebound, who gives a damn? Oh, a rebound was the difference between him having a tremendous game and him having a tremendous triple-double game. I salute you, Giannis, for keeping it real out there. You ain't got too big for your bridges. You know how it feels. Every little thing matters. Every little thing counts. Coming up on Never Shut Up, it's time to go full episode, time to go deep. It's time to talk about Ja Morant and all the issues circling him right now, okay? We're going to get into it raw, and that's next on Brinks TV, and I'll see you tomorrow on Reach TV. Welcome back to Never Shut Up, full episode. Let's talk about Ja Morant right now. And it almost feels like, where do you start with Ja Morant? And all of it of late has been bad. Let's just go, I guess, from like Friday through the weekend. This story obviously is evolving. Ja Morant issued an apology after the Grizzlies suspended him for at least 2 games after he appeared to display. I love when they say appear to display. What the hell else is that? It's a damn gun. I know you're trying to protect yourself from getting sued. It was a damn gun. On Instagram Live while at a nightclub. The NBA is investigating that, right? So here's John Morant comes out and said, I take full responsibility for my actions last night. I'm sorry to my family, teammates, coaches, fans, partners, city of Memphis, and the entire Grizzlies organization for letting you down, including the girls I used to date in the third grade. I mean, he thanked everybody. He was sorry for everything. All right, I'm going to take some time away to get help and work on learning better methods of dealing with stress and my overall well-being. Let's stop there. That apology doesn't sound sincere. I'm going to tell you why. It doesn't sound sincere because I don't think that John Morant is dealing with stress. I don't think this is a stress release, going to strip clubs and being on IG Live flashing guns. I don't think any of this is stress-induced or stress-related. Now, you can prove me wrong if you want to, John Morant, or prove us wrong, but I don't like that line in there. I do like the fact that you said your overall well-being, but no throwaway lines because this is too serious a topic. Your life is too precious, and you have so much to lose for you just to say, hey, I'm going to pander or say anything just to get y'all off my ass. We're not going to do that. Okay, here's the thing. I think it's irresponsible of him to make a statement like that that is not particular to the word because it's unfair to everyone else around his age range. He's 23. There are other guys, 22, 23, 24, stars like him that are not doing any of that, dealing with the same amount of stress he is as being an NBA star, if not more stress, right? Let's be real. This is messed up to a guy like Luka, Jason Tatum, Zion Williamson, LaMelo, etc., SGA, who you never hear anything about. Like, those guys are amazing basketball players, spotlight on them, and not acting out like that, but still have the stress of being the most important player on their team. So I thought that was a cop-out. I'm always the one that is going to look at how you're contrite, show your level of contrition to show me how much do you understand your indiscretions. I say it again. When you apologize, I'm actually listening, so that tells me you have the awareness of what you actually did wrong. That apology right there fell a little short, but I'm not going to fully judge him on that. Let's move forward. We saw him flashing the gun. We saw the apology. Then it gets worse. The reports are that he went on a flight to Denver and had a gun. Now the NBA is not looking at just like this 2-game suspension, or it's indefinite and up to 50 games because that is a major violation of NBA policy. And we obviously know why. You go back to Agent Zero days and knowing what he went through. And I know Gil, so trust me, they had to make corrections in legislating this rule. You're in some hot water if you took that gun off property on a flight and onto another NBA site. That's a problem. Let's talk about where all this is coming from, because it's not coming from that Ja can't let the streets go. I hate when I hear that, because I grew up in the streets and I never even hugged the streets, so I didn't even have to let it go. Some guys do, some guys don't, but don't blame the streets, because we're in the same predicament. We're in the same situation. You need to start blaming your sensibilities. You need to start blaming what you actually like and value in life, more so than just the streets. Because the streets didn't grab me. It didn't grab DeMar DeRozan. It didn't grab Tyson Chandler. We all from Compton. Do you want me to continue to go down the line? I just hate the lazy narrative. Oh, since you're from it, oh, you don't know anything but it. Shut up. It's not that. And John Morant ain't from that. That's what I'm hearing, which is good, because my kids are not from it either. I wish my kids would get older, accomplish something, make it, and then want to get hood? For what? I'm from it and I don't even act hood. I act corny on purpose because I want you to know I ain't hard, because I actually know what hard looks like. That's why I know that Ja's a fraud and guys like that are fraudulent. I used to know that growing up. Why do I know you're a fraud if you acting like that? Because anybody who's from that don't really want to be about that. Deep down, nobody wants to be into that. So whenever you get away from it and you still acting like that, I question you, dog. I question your sincerity and how real you are. I question your stripes. I know too many OGs right now that are fully formed citizens and acting like normal neighbors who used to bang, bang, bang. But all they wanted and all they got was to get away. And once they got away, they left that shit behind them. So anybody who gets away or not from it and acts like that, come on, dog, we already know what that is. So Ja is in a position now where a lot of his future is in jeopardy, at least the near future. And let's talk about not only why is he acting like this, but what's next for him. What's next for him is to really turn the page. And it's not turn the page from flashing a gun. It's not turn the page from, I'm acting a little too tough for my own good. It's turning the page on realizing what are your goals, not just off the court, but inside in terms of your paradigm, in terms of your value system, in terms of you actually being a contributing member to society more so than just a damn great basketball player who's going to fuck it up. You need to start to realize what's so important about looking hard. And it's not about Ja. The reason I get emotional about this is not because of Ja. It's because of who he impresses. It's because of who he has influence over. It's the thousands and maybe tens, if not hundreds of thousands of kids who look up to this guy, who want to be this guy so much that they'll follow him everywhere, including a path of destruction. They'll say, if it's good for Ja, it's good for me. I'm here to tell y'all, it ain't even good for Ja Morant in this moment. And I know too many guys, man, who really are from it. I'll give you an example. Juju Smith-Schuster. A lot of people say how silly he is, how he a TikToker, and the dude just does too much. Do you know Juju from the hood? Do you know his family from the hood? Do you know Juju don't have to let go of the streets? It's in him. You watch him play, you can tell it's in him. The boy plays hard. He ain't scared of nothing. But he ain't got to go out there with that false bravado act. Got the bandana in my pocket, throwing up and shooting everything I see and flashing guns. Like, I'm swearing, if you are doing that in the position you're in, you ain't even got to come tell me how fake you are, because it's already on full display. So we have all of these things adding up against Ja Morant. Obviously, the laser incident with the Pacers on January 29th, et cetera. We know. I don't want to go through the laundry list of that. What I want to do is get to the place where we stop going down this slippery slope with Ja because of his influence, because of his greatness, and just really get beyond this, reconcile this moment, and be somebody that people can say is truly responsible. So y'all know me. I do not try to impress you with my success, but I try to impact you with my scars. I used to own a gun when I was in the NFL. My rookie year and my second year. So I'm 21 and 22 years old. I'm a little younger than Ja at this moment. And I was a fool. I was responsible at first. I thought I was. I actually got a permit, right? Got a license. Bought the gun legally, obviously. All those good things. And let's say the first few months when I had that gun, everything proper. Put it in the safe, put it in the lock, etc. And then midway through the season, all of a sudden, I started to get a little more irresponsible with the gun. I would put it in this little wallet holster I had. I had a 380, a small wallet holster. So from the outside perspective, it looked like a wallet. But it was much more than that. And I would keep it on me everywhere. And at first, I would take it out, leave it in the car. I would take it out, not bring it into the facilities. But then I got reckless with it. Start bringing it into the facilities. I didn't do any Gilbert Arena stuff. I wasn't even trying to shoot dice or flash it to the homies. None of that. I was just putting it in my locker. And then I would go back. That was illegal. That was illegal. You cannot bring a firearm onto NFL property. And I did it for 2 years. So I'm not sitting here trying to condemn Ja Morant like he's not someone who can reconcile this and come back and be retributed. All about this, right? But at the same time, I got to keep it real. I wasn't trying to thug either. I was literally kind of scared that I had money now and I would be a target. But then 2 incidents made me realize, hey, you're either going to be a guy who's going to be fully responsible with this, or you're going to have to get rid of it because you are not living up to the standard necessary to be a gun owner. Here are the 2 incidents. The first one was, it was leaving the club. It's way late. I'm by myself riding, and I have the gun with me, and I haven't used it. I haven't been to the firing range in Buffalo. I did when I was in LA. And it's almost like the gun started talking to me, like, yo, why am I here if we're not even doing anything? What you doing? You protecting yourself? Nobody messing with you. I swear these are real thoughts. And I'm just riding with the gun. Like, I'm 21, 22. Bored. I grabbed the gun. It's pitch dark everywhere. I'm in Buffalo in the woods somewhere. And I just squeeze. Pop, 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 pop. Now, I'm the same guy who grew up where every 4th of July, every New Year's Eve, my grandmother, let alone my family, outside shooting. Celebration, just shooting, right? This is in the city. So now I'm way out in the boonies doing the same thing at 21, 22, jeopardizing my career. So watch how these dominoes are starting to fall even for me, someone who I thought was really responsible, right? The guy from Colombia has a gun illegally on NFL property, now shooting at 3 in the morning going home. That ain't it. You think I would get rid of the gun then, right? Or something tragic would happen. It didn't, but something almost did. Let me tell you this. I'm at a red light. Once again, leaving the club. What did Herb Edwards say? Nothing good happens at the midnight. He ain't lying. Well, one thing happens good, but I can't talk about that. That's pretty vulgar. So here we go. So I'm sitting here. It's a red light, 2:30. And once again, the gun, who was starting to whisper to me, is right here. And I see this guy crossing the street. Without a gun, that's just a guy crossing the street. With a gun, why is that guy looking at me? What does that guy want? Is he trying to rob me? Like, it put me in a different mindset. Maybe it was my age. Maybe it's because of where I'm from. Maybe it's just because I was being irresponsible with the gun. You add it up. That's my mindset. I'm watching this guy, and he stops in front of my car. I have this Lexus GS 400 that was new at the time, so I'm thinking like I'm big shit on the streets. And I'm looking like, he looking at my car kind of crazy. Okay, so now my hand is on my gun. And then he walks over to the driver's side. And I'm like, oh, man, no, he ain't. And I remember he comes to the window and he's just looking like lost, like looking like he don't know what's up. And he knocks on the window. Now I have the gun on my lap. And I'm rolling down the window. And the gun is facing the door. So therefore, if he does anything crazy, bang, it's happening. And I'm looking, and the guy literally says, excuse me, do you know where Laurel Street is? Something like that, random. I lose 100 pounds of anxiety just gone, pressure gone. I take a deep exhale, and I was like, I don't know, big dog. I ain't from here. I ain't from around here. I'm sorry. He goes right in front of the car and walks away. That moment, I knew I had to get rid of that gun because I wasn't ready for that gun. And I don't know if it's age specific or not. I just know what I had at stake, being in the NFL, what I was risking being in the NFL, being that irresponsible with the gun, wasn't worth it, right? Now, John Morant seems like he's in that same mindset. Not from where I'm from, not those kind of harsh conditions, but still, he's glamorizing that life. So he's trying to live it out in symbol, right? All I know is I don't want him to become a symbol. I want him to be an example. I don't want him to be like, okay, I'm a display of what's going down in the hood. You're not from that. And who is from that really raised their hand to be from that? I'm from it. I respect it. I appreciate it. But I've seen too many people way harder than anybody else we could name that once they got away from that, they truly felt the escape and they truly felt their freedom. Ja, you done came too far, big dog, to let this get you and to pull you down. And hopefully this won't undermine your greatness. Keep it going, big dog. I'm thinking of you. All right, y'all know how we end the show every time. We end it with a Wileyism. Let's get into this one. Ooh, Courtney likes this one, so let's see if you guys like it as well. Boiling water softens potatoes and hardens eggs. Y'all know what that means, or do y'all? Yeah. Kind of what we were just talking about with John Morant. Don't blame the conditions, right? Don't blame the hot water, how it changes you, because it's who are you? And more importantly, what are you made of, right? The water's the same, but it affects us differently. Oh, I love this one because it speaks to who I am. When people find out where I'm from, and then I take them home, and they're like, damn, how'd you turn out so good? And everybody else turned out like that. And I'm like, bruh, I know one thing, I'm not gonna blame this neighborhood fully for that. It's something about what I was going through at home. It's something about the nurturing that I was able to attain. It's something about what I got inside myself. What did Snoop say when he got his Walk of Fame star? I like to thank myself for persevering. I like to thank myself for succeeding. Hey, man, I made some choices. Or I could have been somebody who blamed the water. I could have blamed the circumstances. I could have blamed Compton. I could have blamed South Central. But there are so many great people that I know that have come from those places, like myself, who didn't blame the water, right? Some of us out there, we became the potatoes. We got softer, but we achieved our goals. And some people, I get it, man, they got harder and they became the egg and then they broke in half a lot of times on that concrete. So all y'all out there, boiling water softens potatoes and hardens eggs. Thank y'all for rocking with your boy on another episode of Never Shut Up. Be back here tomorrow, Brinks headquarters, ATL, baby. Loving it out here. I heard Magic City open. I ain't going. Y'all know what address? I'm not going. What time it close? I ain't going. Okay, what is Magic City anyway? Is that where David Copperfield is? Is that where the magicians are? I see y'all tomorrow, man. Peace. Appreciate y'all.